people, I'm so excited about this one. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ruthie. Welcome to Style with Bloom. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to draft a basic sleeve pattern. Yes, this is a long sleeve and it's going to form the foundation for every other sleeve type pattern, every other thing we're going to be doing on this channel. So if you are yet to subscribe, kindly click on the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, be sure to like this video, and of course put it in your archives, because we're going to be making reference to it a lot for every other sleeve tutorial that's going to go on this channel. So let's go ahead and do the drafting of this pattern and the cutting of the sleeve, because this video is going to also contain the cutting of the sleeve, and then you're going to see the outcome of the sleeve. Well, in this one I added a peplum to it just because that was what my client wanted, but then I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, be sure to tell somebody about this channel. Be sure to become a part of this family. I look forward to having you. Thank you so much. So guys, for this I went ahead to take out my sleeve length, which is 24. I also went ahead to mark out my elbow length, that is shoulder to the elbow of my client, and then the shoulder to the 3/4 length of my client. Your 3/4 length is the middle of your elbow and your wrist. Many times it's just in the middle right there. So I went ahead to mark all these lines, as you can see. So my shoulder to elbow was 12, my shoulder to 3/4 was 16, and my shoulder to wrist was 22. Then I went ahead to just extend the markings to the middle so that it would be easy for me to draw the line. So I went ahead to draw out the lines and I marked my lines. Please note that your pattern paper is supposed to be on fold, because this that we're cutting is going to act as both our back and our front sleeve, and there is always a difference between the back armhole and the front armhole, even on the sleeve. So make sure that your paper is on fold for this pattern. So guys, I went ahead to measure out my cap sleeve, which was bust divided by 12 plus 0.5, and then I marked that out on the from the beginning of my line of my sleeve. That is from this. I didn't draw a start line because there was no need. The paper is already straight enough. So from the beginning of my sleeve, I went ahead to mark the cap height, which is again bust divided by 12 plus 0.5. Bust divided by 12 plus 0.5. You get your cap sleeve. And on my cap sleeve line, I went ahead to take the measurement of my basic bodies. You're going to see that I'm attaching it to the video here. Basic bodies from the shoulder slant to the chest line. For her, it was 7.5. I went ahead to mark that out on the cap sleeve line, and then on the cap height line rather, and then I went ahead to measure that line, and then after measuring the line, I took half of it. So I divided it. By the time I got the midpoint of the line, I went up by 0.5 inches, and then I used my rule to connect to the original line there, which is down, and I use my curve to connect it up. Now this is your back armhole, right? And then on the original midpoint, you know that we went up by half. So on the original midpoint where we didn't go up by half, I used my curve to connect from the crown of my sleeve to the end of what we measured from our shoulder slant to our chest line, right? And then I went ahead to use my curve to just curve that in. That forms our front armhole. So I didn't like how the curve was. I went ahead to it was too curvy for me. So I went ahead to just align it a bit. And you can see that I cancelled out the other one. So please take note of this when you're doing yours. It shouldn't be too curvy so you don't have issues. So I went ahead to measure out my sleeve circumferences. That's like all my sleeve circumferences divided by 2, my elbow divided by 2, my 3/4 divided by 2, my bicep divided by 2, and then my wrist divided by 2. And when I measured the wrist, which we did not measure at the wrist exactly. If you measure at the wrist exactly, the hand will not be able to pass. So we measured in front of the wrist, my like where my arm should pass, my palm area. That is what I measured for sleeve. That's what we measured for my client as well. And I went ahead to use my hip curve, turned it the other way, and then I used it to just draw out this sleeve, following all the measurements. Then if you're cutting a short sleeve, that's when you really need to fold this paper. So the folding of the paper is not necessary for a long sleeve. Well, I folded it by 1 inch down so that there will be no shortages by the time we finish um cutting, especially when you are cutting on your fabric, so you don't end up with a shortage and then the sleeve becomes too tight for your client. So please note that as well. Then I went ahead to add 1 inch allowance to the sleeve on my pattern, and I use my hip curve to also connect it. That is how the arm area is. So it's better you use your curve than to use a ruler, so that you get your accurate measurements and so that you get the accurate shape of your sleeve. And then I just use my ruler to correct whatever I needed to correct. And basically we were done with the cutting of this sleeve, with the drafting of this sleeve. That is as easy as it can be. This is as easy as it can be. Now, if you want to easily lift up your hand, by the time you measure out the slant line, this line from your shoulder slant to your chest line, it's important that you add 0.25 to 0.5 inches on your cap height line, so that you can easily lift up your arms when you wear your sleeve. Now, I went ahead to cut out my front armhole by lifting up just the front part of the paper and cutting off. So you can see that the front is in by about 0.5 inches and then the back is out. So we have the front and we have the back, and this sleeve can serve as your right and your left. So when you want to cut one side, when you use it to cut one side, you flip it over and you cut on the second side. And then if you want to use it as a short sleeve, you just fold it. If you want to use it as an elbow sleeve, you just fold it as your elbow line, and you have your sleeve literally. So at this point we came to, I just showed you the process of the cutting of the sleeve so that you could really understand how to cut your sleeves out. Now this is very beginner friendly. I went ahead to pin my pattern on the fabric. So just go ahead and pin your pattern on the fabric, and then in addition to the 1 inch allowance that you left on the sleeve already, make sure to leave at least 1 inch extra, especially for big people. This is very important. If you leave anything less than 1 inch, sometimes when you are sewing, you can have shortages. I've had this issue myself before and I've learned. So please don't make that mistake. Then on your armhole area of your sleeve, you'll be sure to add 0.5 inches. And when we're cutting out your sleeve, you cut out the back first. So you cut out everything together with the back. As you can see, I did not exactly. So I went ahead, after cutting one sleeve, I flipped my pattern paper and I cut the second part, the second sleeve rather. So we went through the same process, pinning and then going ahead to cut, just so that you can see this. I flipped them. As you can see, I cut the back sleeve first, everything cut together, and then we'll open it up and we'll cut out the front for each side. So just stay tuned to this video to see how this is done. So guys, we finished cutting out our both sleeves, and then I'm going to turn each of them to the right side. As you can see what is happening here, then you go ahead and you place your pattern paper on one of the sleeves, you pin. Now you've notched the middle. Please make sure you notch the middle of the sleeve when you cut. So now you pin the middle of the paper to the notched area, and then when you place it, you can see that for the front armhole there's an extra, so you use the front to just trace it out. For me, I try to leave some extra because we need that extra for the joining. Even though it's already in, you're just cutting out 0.5, and whatever allowance you added when you were cutting is still in. So don't worry, just cut it out. make sure there's no extra space at the joining area, and that's all. And then I went ahead to flip it. Please make sure of this, you don't cut the same thing twice, else you will have the same sleeve for the sleeve, you will have two sleeves for one side. So I went ahead to flip it. I flipped my paper to another side, and then I went ahead to cut out my front armhole. So now you can see we have both sides of our sleeves, the right and the left, and we have our front armhole. It is important that you do this so that your clothes has proper fitting at the sleeve area. Now, so if you're going to go use it for a straight sleeve, you already have your straight sleeve, literally. So guys, I went ahead to attach a peplum to this sleeve, and it became what the person wanted. So if you liked this video, if you learned something from here, if it's helpful to you, please don't forget to like and to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.